Welcome back, Bravehearts, to the Doc of Detox show. I'm Dr. Daryl Wolfe, and today's show is one of the most exciting shows that I've ever done in energy medicine, okay? This is called CellSonic, the greatest scientific breakthrough in medicine, and we're going to be talking today to Professor Andrew Hague. But before I bring him on, I just want to set the record straight. E equals mc squared. Energy creates mass. Understand something. If you have a negative energy, a negative impulse, a negative frequency, and you do it long enough and strong enough, just how two people can come together in love and have a baby, you can have enough negative frequencies, and if they are negative enough, you can actually grow a tumor. And understand something. Everything we eat, everything we drink leaves the body. That's right. Everything physical you've ever put into your mouth leaves the body, and the only thing that stays behind is the frequency. So we know that energy equals mc squared, like Einstein said. Energy creates mass. So out of mass, you can create energy. But what are you going to do if you've been sick for a long time and you have no energy, so you can't create the healing? Because understand something. When you have the wrong images, when you have the wrong thoughts and then run the wrong programs long enough and strong enough, that energy, whether if it's negative, is going to create something negative. So it'll be a fibroid, it'll be a tumor, it'll be an autoimmune disease, and it'll depend on your personality, what the reality of what you have to live with. So understand this. When you come to us in Ixtapa, Mexico, to the Ixtapa Palace World Training and Healing Center, we're going to be looking at the emotional aspect, because guess what? The doctor cut out the tumor, but did he cut out the belief that actually grew it? Because you don't know this, but from 0 to 7, you take 70 to 90% of all your beliefs, and every one of your beliefs has a frequency. Okay, if it's based on self-love, self-care, we know it's high. If it's self-hate, ooh, it's low. So understand, if you're a fearful person, then you're never going to heal. But what we've got here today, we're going to talk more about science. We're going to talk about frequency, and we're going to talk about a device that has the capability of going in, and instead of you having to repeat something 10,000 to 100,000 times, it goes in with a powerful enough frequency that it creates a healing. That's right. Because everything runs by frequency. And instead of repeating something long enough and strong enough to try to create that, we have something that has a pulsing action that can go in, and it tells the cells of the body, hey, you're well. You're spinning the wrong way. We need you to spin the other way, and we need you to get a new attitude. So what if there was a device like that? And that's what we're talking about today. So never forget Einstein's quote, E equals mc squared. So everything we operate is frequency. If you eat an apple, if you eat a donut, they're different, aren't they? Now, just think about this. What was it that Einstein said and was one of his most amazing quotes? Energy medicine would be the way we heal ourselves in the future. But what he was talking about was not just about energy medicine equipment. He was talking about the spirit. So if we could emotionally bring you up and then teach you that how to stay up, how to love, honor, respect, and protect yourself before anyone else, and fill up your heart with love, and then work with a device like the CellSonic that goes in right into the deepest part of the cells and says, hey, you're not sick. Get it together. We're going to do this. And understand something. It's a pulsing action, and it makes a difference all the way down to the cell level. So let's begin the show, and let's bring on Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Dr. Wolfe, thank you. That was a brilliant introduction, because you are saying what I'm beginning to say now, because our understanding of what CellSonic does, we're learning all the time. And over the 20 years or so we've been using this machine, we're getting to where you already are, that you need the emotions right. If there's a body-brain link, and it's not just the brain, it's the thoughts going through the brain that are critical. If those thoughts aren't right, if they're unhinged, the body suffers. And we've got to get that right. So what you understand and what the machine can do is important. This is not biochemistry. You're not going to heal a person by pumping them with drugs. and injections. We've got to change the electrical properties. We've got to get the mind where the mind wants to be. Something, when you get into adulthood, goes wrong and people are ill. So they go to the doctor and get something which shuts off part of the brain. That's not healing. That's emasculation. Now, what we can do with the CellSonic, and you press that button, is change some electrical properties. Quite how we do that, we can go into if you want me to go into that depth of detail.
We will, but let's just begin with this and let's take gentle baby steps so that everybody really gets what they need to get, the emotion of what this breakthrough means to people that have or that are hitting a dead end street.
Yes. And at the moment, our machines are, as far as I can tell, feedback from users are predominantly working on cancer. So the people who've come to them have had that cancer for, let's say, 10 years. And then they're told, you've got cancer. And they are scared sick. By the time they've found a proper treatment and they've gone through the chemotherapy and the radiation, they've been messed around, they are even more worried. So we can stop the cancer. We can tell them we can stop it. And then you say, now stop worrying. We say it, but how do you tell somebody to stop worrying? Well, it's not that easy, and we know it's not.
Well, how do you tell somebody? How do you tell somebody to stop worrying when it's been everybody's program and the most dominant program that we were programmed with since we were a child? Even when we were in the mother's womb, we picked up the worry program from mom and dad because, understand, people don't know or they don't even realize that they could master their own mind, to master their own health, to master their own life, right?
This is the world we're in. And as a Homo sapiens, we evolved actually to live in, shall we say, a jungle. And we knew not to tread on a snake, and we knew how to find water if water wasn't there in the desert. The world in which we now are is completely different. There's technology, there's smartphones, there's 5G, all these dangers. As you say, we're programmed to be afraid of something to protect us. And we've got to tell that person who is worried that this is now a new set of circumstances. We're using the technology, which we fortunately got in electronics and chip manufacturing and so forth, that will protect you. And this is the protocol, this is the formula. Right, we're going to stop this, we're going to stop the cancer. And that happens straight away.
Thank you, Andrew. I just want to say something to everybody that's listening right now. The cancer is stopped by the body, not by us. We send in the most powerful frequency, okay, that what happens when it goes into the cell, because you have to understand every cell has a brain. Every cell has a nervous system. So every cell has emotion attached to it, and it runs off of frequencies. Whether you believe it or not, it's a frequency that turns on every disease or turns it off, just like you can turn cancer on or off. I have put together a masterclass called The Emotional Chemistry of Cancer, Disease, and Healing. And you can go to my library, everybody, at docofdetox.com. Click in, go in there, and watch this video. This is a 3-hour video that will train you that the emotional part of you is the most important part of you, and the emotional part of you is the electrical part of you. So guess what? We're able to use electricity to change the emotion in your cells. And if we can change the emotion in your cells and get your cells, okay, to be activated again, to regenerate, and to get your mitochondria spinning 2,500 revolutions per second, that's the key. Because people that have an autoimmune disease or even cancer, they are only spinning maybe 800 revolutions. And you're not making enough ATP, enough energy to ever get well. And this is why we're losing patients. And patients are losing patients with the whole natural health industry and the medical industry. But we can, guess what? We can short circuit that whole thing. because I just told
Yeah.
you,
We
you put the right
we can.
frequency in, and then you get the cell to vibrate as if it's a healthy cell by using this pulse. And that's the key. So it's not our fault if you get well, because all we're doing is replacing what was taken away, because we do not have the normal healthy frequencies that they had 100 years ago. They've all been bombarded, from the blue light to the 5G to the cell phones to all the EMF coming off of everything. We are not going down a good road here. Everything has always been about frequency. Please take it away, Professor.
Look, you're absolutely right. And that worried patient is stress. They can see that the CellSonic has changed their electrical properties. Now, as I say, it's difficult saying to a stressed person, stop worrying. But that's the first step. We've now changed it inside your body. Inside your mind is up to you. And I had a very interesting case. It was in Pakistan. And the old man, he'd lectured at Manchester University in England as a doctor, as a professor. And the son was a doctor. And the son says, my father, I stop the cancer every day. And he wakes up in the morning worrying about his prostate. And he switches it back on. Now, that sounds funny, but I'm sure it was true. Now, we got into some thought mechanisms, if you like.
You got to understand that when you come to the Apparatus World Healing and Training Center, okay, you're going to be getting the emotional work, the nutritional work. You're going to be getting the energy medicine as well. And understand, go take a look at my whole life coach certification, because people will come down there for 8 days. And in 8 days, we're going to change the way you view yourself, the world around you, because everything runs on a program. You know how they want to make us into robots? Well, we already are when it comes to our subconscious, because it's the dominant, prominent beliefs that are in your subconscious that rule school you. And for most people, they fool them, because just like Professor Andrew was saying, is that this, are you ready for this? Before, life was much better when we had tigers and dinosaurs, because when we would freak out, we were running away to save our life. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be running. But today, a person will sit and they're not running anywhere, but they're dripping adrenaline and cortisol and histamine into their body. And that's creating this acidity that cuts down the oxygen, cuts down the minerals, causes the crystallization, and the displaced calcium in the scar tissue. So now you got these physical blocks. But it all started off with a mental block first that went to a physical block, because the psychological overrules the physical. And remember something, it was an electric impulse. First you have an image, then you have a thought, and then you have a frequency from that image and that thought that actually trigger the brain. And you're either triggering dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, or you're triggering Hague, which is histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. But how does it feel to be running away from a tiger that has paper teeth? It's a paper tiger. So every time that you have the illusion of a threat, which guess what? Right now we're being threatened by our medical system and our government more than anything else. But the reality is, if you knew how powerful you were, and if you knew how to master your mind, change your personality, changes your reality. And then with Professor Andrew's CellSonic, let me tell you something. It's always been electrical. It's always been about impulse. Okay, but let's get the right impulse, and let's not make the wrong impulsive move emotionally, and let's make the right impulsive move when it comes to electrical. So understand, everybody, when you come to Ixtapa Palace in Ixtapa, you're getting the whole thing. From the minute you wake up in the morning, we're going to be giving you fresh juices, fruit juices, vegetable juices, blender drinks, okay, coconut water. We're going to be giving you avocado, and that's all you're going to have to live on when you come down there. And with the sunshine and with the CellSonic and the emotional training and the Wolfe Non-Surgical, well, guess what? Professor Andrew's CellSonic was the missing link for the people that said, I want to live. And guess what? The problem is that the average adult needs to make, let's say the adult is 75 kilograms, right? Which is about 170 pounds. That person needs to make 85 kilograms of ATP a day. Well, you're not going to do that unless you get into those cells and you create an impulse. It's like a jump start. You know how your battery's dead? Well, guess what's happening to people? Their battery's dead. They can't heal. What do you think the CellSonic is? It jump starts the car and gets it going, and the car is 50 trillion cells. And it also creates an impulse for the bacteria to wake up and start changing back into their good selves. Good selves. Good cells. Andrew?
This is absolutely right. And people look at me, I'm 75 years old, and say, so you're fit because of the CellSonic? I said, no. And people ask me, have I got a machine that will make us live forever? And I said, yeah. Oh, what is it? I said, well, it's got pedals on it. It's my bicycle. My bicycle is my medicine. Now, coming back to what you were saying about robots, and it was only the other day on a different subject, because there's a lot of talk now about this COVID. And it said that there is a policy that eventually we won't need human doctors. We'll just have protocols and robots, and you press a button and that repairs.
That's not true.
Well,
no,
this is what
they're lying, and they can't do it. We're human beings, and they're just liars, and they're trying to get us to buy into their BS, a new dysfunctional belief system.
This is what's being talked about.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we have a machine, and you have to press the button. But the person pressing the button and the person looking after the patient, who is then, we stop the cancer and now you're recovering. So we've gone down and we're coming up like that. We need a certain type of therapist. I'll not use the word doctor. A certain type of therapist who is loving, who is caring, and can give you the confidence back and say, look, the worst is over. Whatever you were fearing, it doesn't exist. The threat's gone. And that person, with you say the right diet, putting the right nutrients, creating the right microbiome, is on the up.
I got to tell you this, Professor, and that's this. I've been dreaming of this for so long, to have the CellSonic, to have a place that's on the ocean, to have the sun, have beautiful people around. And, people are going to come down there and they're just going to go, oh my gosh, And that's what we need to do is we have to get in and reprogram people, and we can help people find their brave hearts. And that is the whole objective. Let me tell you something, everybody watching, there is no greater gift for me on this planet than gifting everybody on this planet. Right, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's what everybody wants. And they go to the big hospital and there's somebody in the white coat. We call it the white coat syndrome. Now, recruiting doctors, don't let me get too far into that. They're not the ones I would choose for this very delicate job of love is medicine. I did an email to a guy in Glasgow. Now, I just wrote it and sent, and maybe if I'd had time to think about it, I wouldn't have sent it. I said, look, if I could prescribe kisses, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But I sent. Now, I've never heard from him back. He probably thinks I'm a stupid. But actually, I was right. The CellSonic would have done that. And then he would have had some kisses. I don't know who from. It was up in Scotland.
Well, because you know what? If I can say this, can I say this, Andrew? Everybody, you got to get this. What Andrew's saying is right. It's a high vibrational frequency that heals the body. So you have to be in an environment around you like that, and you've got to get one in you, because the only thing that lives in you is, okay, our internal environment decides our disease. It decides how we live, how we die, how we suffer, or how joyful our life is. What do you think, Andrew?
This is right. Now, what we haven't got into in this discussion are the technicalities.
The end story or the end game is the game that we want to see, and that's people leaving with harmonic cells, which mean happy, healthy cells.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's the bottom line. And everybody, if I can say this, Andrew, everybody, we will be back here tomorrow. Okay, we'll be back here tomorrow to answer all your questions. And please, don't be scared to challenge Professor Andrew or myself. And just know this, anybody who's listening, because people jump on and off, make sure that if you're interested in coming to Ixtapa Palace in Mexico and see us, or coming to get CellSonic treatments, or to come down with your family to learn personal treatment and trainings, or you're coming for certifications, just know that my number is number 5 on the 800 number, and you can call me anytime you want, and I'm going to answer your questions. But understand this, until you take massive action, massive personal action, right, Andrew? What do you think? Massive personal action, right?
Yeah, yeah. And look, we didn't set out to make a machine to do cancer. We actually set out a machine to do cellulite down the back of women's legs. But we've discovered what it does step by step from our users telling me, hey, we found out it did this, we found out it did that. But what it showed us was a person is from here upwards.
Yes.
The body is the apparatus. and then look, you can live without, you've got to take some energy in and some poo's got to come out. Look, we can be rather blunt, but this is, everybody who's listening understands this. You don't need arms, you don't need legs, but you need heart, lungs. You probably don't need much of a digestion system, but by Jove, you need your brain. Without that, you're not existing. So if it's an orangutan's body, or we might come to the day when we say, what do you want to be today? Oh, I'll be an antelope. That's not, I want to be a tiger. Look, we're playing games, but we're proving the point, Daryl.
Yes.
It's in the mind that we exist. That's where the control happens.
Right.
If we're different from other animals that can live without tools, we're a species that needs tools for our livelihood.
Right.
CellSonic is a tool. That's all it is. Then we handle that gift. Here, I've made it, you take it, you sell it. People use it. We're all into tools. Accepting what we are as a species. It's the mind.
Andrew, if you don't mind, I don't think you've got an antidepressant machine. I think you've got a happy molecule machine, and you're actually triggering the dopamine, the serotonin, and the endorphins. And so who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. Now, you're putting it in words I haven't yet learned. What I watch, what I listen to is the feedback. Try and make sense. And I want feedback from you. When you get treating a lot of people, tell me, because if you're treating their back or their leg,
we're treating a lot. We're treating a lot right now, and as we get going, I mean, we've got people coming from hemorrhoids to fibroids to lung cancer to MS to Parkinson's. They're all coming to Extapa, and see, the reason why is because remember we talked about earlier. First of all, it's got to be affordable. It's got to be someplace beautiful. You've got to have Dr. Sunshine, Dr. Fresh Air, Dr. Ocean, so that you're getting the beautiful iodine off the ocean, and they're getting fresh organic juices from us from the minute they wake up until they go to bed, along with the organic vegetables and coconut juice and coconut meat and avocado and guacamole, and that's all they live on. So everything is high vibrational. So,
and what they must understand is that this isn't special. That is normal. That is what has to be taken as normal. That's the standard to live by.
Yes. What about diabetic wounds? Same thing, right? They heal very quickly.
And we're going back now to the mid-90s.
Right.
And they got hold of a lady who'd had a diabetic ulcer since she was a teenager. She was now in her 90s. It doesn't necessarily kill them, but it's a big smelly nuisance, is this diabetic ulcer. And they healed it. What was happening? Well, it seemed pretty obvious they were killing the infection because the infection was stopping it. But the infection, if you put anything on a wound, like an ointment, it doesn't really penetrate.
So it would actually, it'll actually break down the kidney stone, but it will not damage the kidney tissue, right? Correct.
It never did. And everybody was puzzled by that. But it didn't. And we come back to this how and what. Look, it doesn't damage it. Don't ask me how, because I'm not inside the kidney with watching it and poking about. But you could see it on the x-rays. In fact, I'm not sure x-rays was a good idea all the time. You know, an ultrasound scan and an x-ray, and the crosshairs on the picture, you could see that stone disintegrate. And it came down to little granules, which could then be urinated out, flow out, instead of the person having to be cut open. So it was not harming the healthy tissue. Fine. The orthopods got hold of it. The physiotherapists got hold of it. The dermatologists were shown how they could then heal wounds that were previously refusing to heal. More blood was sent to that site. The blood had more oxygen. There was nitric oxide in it. I'm not that much a biologist, but this is what they were finding out because they could measure this in the wounds. And if you'd asked me 5-6 years ago, what is CellSonic doing mostly? The answer was wound healing, because there's no other way of dealing with. Of all the diabetics, and they're an increasing proportion of the population.
Everybody doesn't understand is that every cell in the human body has a brain. Every cell in the human body has a large intestine. They have all the organs that are in a human body are in the cells. And if I can say something to step back for a second, I need everybody to get this. Try to picture this. So we have body work called Wolfe Non-Surgical, and we go in there and we can actually take a tumor apart, a fibroid apart, and we do it lovingly. And when we start using that with the CellSonic, you know what that does? That brings the work up tenfold, because the more tougher the physical block is, the more there is a dam, okay, of displaced calcium and scar tissue. Energy is hard to flow. So we go in and we lovingly pull the fibers apart. We help to loosen up the calcium from doing ionic calcium therapy, and by using other tools, so that when we use the CellSonic, you're not coming up against the block, because every pain in your body, the swelling in your body, the inflammation in your body are all physical blocks. And if we can get rid of the physical blocks, then the energy that comes in has a better chance to go where it needs to go and do what it needs to do.
This is right. This is the understanding of medicine that is not taught in medical schools and hasn't been for 100 years and probably never will be. But you're teaching it now, and we're doing it, and people are getting to know about it. Let me tell you about the very first cancer patient, because that to me was a revelation. I was probably more amazed than the patient. And it was Ami Hussain, our distributor in Bangladesh. And he said, he trusted me because he knew me, he'd been dealing with me. He said, I've got prostate cancer, can you do anything? Now, at that point, I had seen a hypothesis saying that pressure kills cancer. Now, we know that heat does, we know that cold does. But this was talking about pressure. And obviously, the authors of this paper had no means of delivering the pressure, but we had. And I'd be very cautious. See, if it's a tennis elbow or shoulder, 1,000. This was only 300. And I said, treat him, and then miss a day, and then give him a second treatment in case we missed anything the first time.
Right.
So they treated him on the Monday, and on the Wednesday morning, I phoned, and Sundar answered. I said, how is Amir? He's all right. People would say to me, it's magic. I said, no, it's not magic. It's science. It is science. The machine, my instructions when we made the machine, and we started with a blank piece of paper because we didn't copy anything, was to make the pulses that would work on cellulite, which were then found to be equally as effective on wounds, on bones, and so forth, all the way down the trail. You can't flick that on and off like you can flick the light bulb in your room. It's high voltage switching. That, if you like, is the secret, is the trick. We've not patented the CellSonic machine, and we knew that from the outset, because if you do a proper patent, you have to divulge your secret.
So that's great, Andrew. But what I'd like to talk about is I'd like to talk from A to Z. So if we can, take your time and kind of give us real life testimonials and things that we know that CellSonic actually excels with. But understand something, and I need everyone to get this. So if it can deal with things on a level of autoimmune diseases, neurological problems that nobody else seems to be fixing, and also if it can work on a level that it actually helps the frequency and the vibration in the body to turn cancer off and to heal. So understand, the machine does not cure anything, but understand what it does. It facilitates what was happening in a healthy human being before. So it jump starts that, and the body wakes up and goes, whoa, healthy, vibrant program, kick it in. We forgot all about it. So that's what I really believe. And maybe you can just add to that. And then let's talk about all the things that you see that it excels with so that people can get a good understanding.
Let me give you two case histories. And I know both these people, I've met both these people personally, and they're not cancer. Now, this is important because cancer's not that difficult. People think it's difficult because they haven't been allowed to be healed from it because the medical system is preventing it. Anyway, from our side, cancer's not a difficult one, but let me give you two cases. The first one was, as I've mentioned this before, the severed spinal cord. The girl, when I met her, was 18. 4 years before, she'd been in a car accident. Whether she was in the car or the car hit her, I don't know. But she could then not handle anything from the waist downwards. The legs, everything from the waist downwards didn't work. And she was brought to meet me in the clinic in Hyderabad in India as an example of what they'd achieved, because they were very proud of this girl. And she'd still got calipers on her legs, but she could wriggle her toes and she could move her legs. And she was showing me on her smartphone a picture of a video of her swimming in the swimming bath. And she could move her legs up and down. And I said to her, can you tell when you need to go to the toilet? And she beamed. She knew that I knew the biggest problem of all. She'd now got her dignity back. She got some privacy back. She was healing. Now, whether the nerves are joining up end to end or a new network of nerves is formed around the severance where the break, I don't know. But the point was, she was now regaining control from the waist downwards. Now, another case, and this lady would be middle-aged. So we're definitely not going to give her name because I'm going to tell you what the problem was. She had one hell of an itch on the genitals, and it's called lichen something or other. Everything has Latin names. Right. And this had tormented her for years, a business lady. And she had a CellSonic machine because the clinic was one of the many businesses she had. She was a very high-powered lady. And she would say she could get into a meeting and needed to scratch these unspeakable parts. And it was tormenting her. So she thought one day, I'll see what the CellSonic can do. So in the privacy of her own room, she gave herself a treatment on her private parts, on the genitals. 50 shocks. Now, you've heard me say 1,000 shocks are what we do on a tennis elbow, calcified shoulder, 1,000. 300 on a cancer. This was 50. So it's hardly a minute. That was about, I heard from her the other day. So it's now about 6 weeks ago. The itching has gone and not come back. If it comes back, she's not bothered because she can just give it another 50 shocks. But it's not come back.
Which basically now, 50 shocks would only be, well, that's 4 shocks a second. So that's only a 15-second treatment.
It's nothing.
Yes.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
This is what happened is evidence. How it happened, we don't know. This is really autoimmune disease. It's not an infection. Because I'd said, so can it cause any cracking open of the skin? An infection get into those cracks? I said, well, I put all the creams on and I keep everything as clean as possible. No, it's a bit like psoriasis. And we did have a case very well reported from Germany where the lady had 2 patches on her back of psoriasis. So they treated one of the patches.
Right.
And both patches healed up. What can happen with psoriasis then is it will reemerge in another place. But by then, as the person has discovered what to do to stop it, they're not bothered. Okay, we just go back and it's a 2-minute treatment, and that's no different to going to have your hair cut regularly or visit the dentist at regular intervals.
Yeah, but
so
but you know, every condition is more than skin deep, right? And if we can get them to understand about how to do the perfect day lifestyle, then eventually they will Their bacteria will turn back into good bacteria. The fungus will go back into yeast instead of being Candida albicans, creating the leaky gut that causes a spillover into their blood that then seeps up through the skin because their cup runneth over with infection.
Yeah, yeah. Right. I give you those cases, especially this severed spinal cord. You had an actor, I think he died in America, one of the Supermen.
Yeah.
And he came off his horse.
Christopher Reese.
Yeah. Now, I would think we could have done a lot for him. So this is where CellSonic can do what nothing else can do. And we're not talking cancer either, remember.
And if I can say this, everyone, so understand that this is why, we have CellSonic and we have it in Ixtapa. And between having the best bodywork, the best supplementation, the best energy medicine, and then living in a beautiful place that is totally peaceful and you can heal. It's called creating a new program all the way down to the mitochondria. Hey, Andrew?
It is. It is. And you're teaching me big words. That's great. I'm a slow learner on that. I'm a bicycle engineer.
You're not.
Look, we're not, this hasn't come out of a laboratory. This is thinking. It's what needs to be done. And as I said to Sanjeev, don't change anything. We've got something, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the rule in engineering. And we've now got a machine that works.
What are the contraindications? Are there any?
Well, we always say pregnancy. Now, there's a funny story. And this goes back 20 years. And it was in I think it was the Royal Orthopaedic in Birmingham, which is the second city of Britain. And it was my early days for this. And the registrar is a doctor next to the surgeon. And I'm sitting here with this young girl who's gone in for heel spur. This is on the foot. There's a calcification develops under the heel spur. So we're not even into wound healing at that stage. This is still part of the orthopedic physiotherapy stage we were at in those days. And this calcification had grown so she could hardly walk. So this guy's got a checklist to find out all the contraindications. So he goes down, are you pregnant? She says yes. So he then bimbles off to find the surgeon to ask if he's allowed to treat this lady, young girl. And I'm sitting there really not thinking my words properly. So I said to her, when did you get pregnant? I mean, she didn't look pregnant. I should have probably worded it slightly differently. And just as he came back the door, she said, yeah, I got pregnant last night. And the registrar came in and said, sorry, can't treat you. And she burst into tears. She could hardly walk around the supermarket. She was an invalid. And he'd refused to treat her because she didn't know whether she was pregnant. She obviously wanted to be pregnant. But that was a non-indication. Now, I've always said to everybody, it's a non-indication. You have to. But if there's something wrong on the foot and it's a long way away from the fetus, is it safe? Now, we have had cases where the lady's pregnant with breast cancer. What to do? And my advice at that stage was, well, how long will it be before the baby's born? Can we wait a couple of months? And that was what I said, because cancer doesn't necessarily kill that quickly. Get the baby out, then we've got the patient safe to treat. So that was done. The other area I'm a bit scared of, and I used to say, remember, never above the chin, but we're now treating into the head. We don't treat above the neck, but we're now treating into the head, and that's working fine. Don't aim at the eyes and the ears. Now, one of the doctors is treating in this area between the eyes and the ears, yes, and quite successfully. And what he's after there is multiple sclerosis, where the blood has to flow smoothly across the brain. And the smooth, because everywhere else it's pulsed because the heart is beating. But on the brain, it's got to be smooth. And the smoothness is controlled by the outlet valve, not the inlet valve. And that is, it's either here or there. Which side it is, I'm not sure. And that was working. So that's an interesting thing. But we don't know yet on the eyes and the ears. One day somebody will say, "Oh, we've done it and it's fine." But from my side, I'm cautious. I have to be.
Right.
And everything else is working. You see, going back to the old days, they used to say, "Don't treat a wound, you might spread it. Don't treat cancer, you might spread it." It's exactly the opposite.
True. That's never been true. And guess what? They only said that. Only Big Pharma said that. Nobody else said that. Big Pharma said that. Don't treat the wound. And if you're not a doctor and you're in pain, don't touch yourself. Don't touch your family. You're all dangerous. So yeah.
No, it's not like that. Now, we've used the CellSonic in our family, and athlete's foot, toenail fungus, verrucas. Now, these are quite simple things. But toenail fungus, you go to the chemist, we call it chemist, pharmacy, and get something for toenail fungus, and they'll give you something and a bit of sandpaper. It'll take you years, if ever, to get rid of it. One treatment with a CellSonic, it kills the infection. Big Pharma has nothing. There's only three things that you're going to get from Big Pharma: vaccines, antibiotics, and anesthetics. Everything else doesn't really work. There's a lot of stuff in packages and bottles with lots of claims. It doesn't really work. Now, they're three products we couldn't live without. We're not going to knock it. We need it. The rest is biophysics. And people say, well, how do you work out that the body is electrically sensitive? I say, well, everything that's living on Earth is. Because if you go up into the heavens, into the ionosphere, you've got radiation, electronic irradiation coming in. And I experienced this at Bradford University, where we had an anechoic chamber. And it not only cut out the noise, it was copper lined to cut out the radiation of 7.83 hertz of Schumann's resonance. And I was in there talking to my colleagues, Professor Simon Shepherd. I was only about 2 or 3 minutes and he was rabbiting on. I thought, I'm feeling a bit giddy. I don't get headaches. I wasn't right. So I excused myself and I went outside that room, and then I was in the ordinary physics laboratory and I could see the outside through the windows and I was coming all right. What had happened? I was deprived of the Schumann's resonance coming down from the ionosphere.
Right.
Now, this is important because we haven't been around long. We've only been around 68,000 years. And you mentioned earlier on the dinosaurs. Well, that was a bit... Even I don't remember the dinosaurs. All life on Earth has happened, evolved in the presence of this electrical field. If there is no such electrical field, that life is not going to work. If it's deprived of that electrical stimulus, or whatever you want to call it, it's not life as it should be.
Yeah, but Andrew,
and that's what CellSonic's doing.
I don't mean to cut in, but Andrew, that's what's happening right now. Is that people are being deprived of this, and that's exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it intentionally.
There's so much that's wrong. I mean, I don't use sun cream. I once learned I had to in New Zealand because their insulating layers are really worn out. I don't really approve of sunglasses. There might be extreme cases. Squint. The eyes are telling the skin there's some you've got to protect yourself against the sun. I've also had a lot of, because in Britain it's very mixed people, brown people and black people. And remember, I was a teacher in Uganda back in 1966. So I'm very experienced with Africa. And now in the COVID, they're saying that a lot of colored people are not responding properly. And yet there was another report I got on Medscape saying that everybody who's had the COVID was deficient in vitamin D. Now, the
right.
vitamin D comes from sunlight. And I said to these people, and they were asking about this, they're from Birmingham, black people. I said, you would think it crazy to go sunbathing. You're already black, but you need the vitamin D. And it takes you longer to take that vitamin in than it does me as a white man.
That's right.
Now, this is not racist. This is simple fact. So the darker your skin, the longer you must spend in the sunlight to take in the vitamins which you need.
And Andrew, if I can say something, if we can go back, I carry a product called MCT C60 coconut oil, and it's the only grade of C60 in the world. You use that, okay, as a sun protector. C60 is 250 times stronger than vitamin C. It neutralizes free radicals more than anything else. And we also know that MCT coconut oil already has a 7 sunblock in it. So at the same time you're healing, neutralizing free radicals, there is nothing better. There's nothing better. You know, when we use
that's the natural product.
Yes, and when we use the CellSonic, what we do is we will actually we will have the person clap their psoriasis, so to break it up a little bit, and then put the C60 on, and then use the CellSonic, and then watch what happens. Everything is about moving, getting flow, increasing circulation, and then letting the CellSonic do what it needs to do. And the other thing is, take a look on our website. We have what's called Tesla Lightwear. I don't have them with me right now, but they're the only glasses in the world that with blue light or even the radiation from the sunlight, here they are right here, thank you. These are Teslas. This is called a fluorine lens, and believe it or not, remember the C60 I told you that I have in my MCT C60 oil? Well, I have the only Russian C60 in the world. It's the highest there's people that sell MCT C60 oil in North America, but we're actually going to show an audio that it's fraudulent. It's not C60. It's fraudulent in the way that it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's like that in everything. You get people saying things and they don't even follow through with it. You know that, don't you? So anyways, back to the Teslas. These have C60 fluorine lenses created by Tesla. And these lenses, no matter how much blue light, how much you're sitting in front of a computer, no matter how much radiation is out there, it takes all of that and turns it into healing frequencies. And it heals the damage of a brain and the eyes and the nervous system. So we've searched the world over for the best of the best of the best of the best. So that's why we use CellSonic. That's why we do this. That's why we have the best C60. It doesn't matter what product. And you're right. Vitamin D is huge. It is huge, and people just don't do it enough, and they don't understand it.
Oh, that's right. We're in a technological age, and we can't escape that. I mean, the idea of we're going off to live in the woods is impractical. I of all people, would actually like to do it if I could. But you can't. Now, what I think you have a bigger problem with, say, the Americans, is food quality compared to what we have here, the soil and the fertilizers and all those things. And we could grumble about it on this side of the pond, but on your side, from what I gather, you've got a far bigger problem. And organic food.
Well, yeah, but that's in Canada and United States. In Mexico, where I am, we don't have that problem because they don't use all that. They don't even do GMOs down there. So the reality is we're buying organic without the price tag. I mean, when people come to Extapa Palace, when they wake up in the morning, they already have fresh vegetable juice, fresh orange juice, fresh lemon, lime juice. They have avocado. They've got coconut meat there. They've got blender drinks made out of berries and fruit and they're all organic. So, up here, sure. You know what? The more affluent the country, the more trouble it's getting into lately.
Industry.
Yes.
That is the problem. And this isn't difficult for anybody to understand. Did you come across the name of Steve Haltiwank, Dr. Haltiwank?
No, I have not.
He wrote the classic paper on the electrical properties of cancer cells.
Okay.
And I spoke to him a few times, and a great fellow. Now, he died last year, 4th of October, 2020. I don't know why. I suspect it was a heart attack. He had a problem. He was overweight, and he couldn't handle that. You would have sorted him out, I dare say. But anyway, he wrote about that. And I remember one of his interviews. It wasn't with me, with somebody else at some radio station. And they said, look, if you were in charge of healthcare in the USA, what would be your priority? And he said, I would get people to grow their own food in their own backyard. And in an American term, that means in their own garden,
Yes.
as we would say in England. And he was right, because you don't know what's being sprayed on those plants, the pesticides, the fertilizers and things like that. And I did a study on spinach. And the nutrients in the spinach today are nothing like they were 50 years ago.
It takes 40 times more spinach to equal what it was like 50 years ago for spinach. Same thing with tomatoes. But you know what?
Yeah.
So we know that. We've got it, okay? So we realize that everything is about frequency. Everything is about light. So the more light that something has, the higher the frequency something has, the more they're going to heal someone. So the higher the frequency, the more powerful the frequency, the more we're going to reprogram the cells. And that's what's happening. We're reprogramming the cells, and the cells are reprogramming the nervous system, which is helping to reprogram the brain. And that's why the CellSonic affects the whole body. And remember, everybody, we're going to be on here tomorrow for a live Q&A at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I just want to tell everybody something. Don't be afraid to challenge myself or challenge Professor Andrew. Understand, we are talking about a device that's going to change medicine forever. It's because guess what?
Yeah.
As I said earlier, Einstein stated that the field of health will be based on energy medicine. And what he was saying is it's going to take too long, even if we eat good food, take in good drink, and hang around with good people. It's going to take too long, because I'm going to tell you something. Those people that are actually running all the corporations, running the media, running the government, are undermining us at every level, and they're using frequency and light war. What do you think blue light is? Most toxic thing on the planet. What do you think 4G is? 5G, cell phones. They could have made everything in a healthy way, but they're fighting us. And that's the only war that's going on. And if you don't take massive personal action to bring up your frequency, bring balance to the cells, then go ahead. Try to see if you can heal. You either have to work with light and frequency, or you're going to be in trouble. So you got to lighten up and you got to wake up. So I want to see you here. Write your questions down. We'll collect them on here. And then tomorrow we'll have questions coming in live from you. And understand, if you're interested in learning how to run a CellSonic, or you're a practitioner and want to purchase one, or you want to come down with your family and take our personal treatment and trainings where you learn how to create the perfect lifestyle on an emotional, nutritional level for you and yourself and your family, and become the light. Or if you want to come down and take one of our certifications, go to www.newworldpractitioner.com. And we're going to be teaching every practitioner that comes down to our course how to use the CellSonic, how to use the Bioptron, the Avicen. We're going to teach you things that you're not taught. And why we're doing it and why we moved to Mexico is because guess what? It doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to take years. It only has to take weeks before you find your authentic self to heal yourself, or before you can find your passion and purpose and become a practitioner like me, or like all the other thousands of people we've taught. So understand something. Do not let fear get in the way. Today's the day that we live. Today's the day that we supercharge our lives, and all the way down to ourselves. What do you think, Andrew?
Dr. Wolfe, you're spot on. I was going to say something about the frequencies, but I'll save it for tomorrow.
No, say it now. I'm not ending this. I want you to have the last say.
Okay. Well, look, you mentioned all the different frequencies. What's interesting about the CellSonic is that they're all there. Because what you could say is that the bang, the pulse, the shock, whatever, same word meaning the same thing, is a bang. So a bang is a low frequency and high frequencies.
And everything in between.
Yeah.
But it's
And
all
because we,
but it's all positive and negative. I mean, not negative.
yeah.
All positive without negative.
So there's a phrase we use called rise time. And that means we have to go from silence to high decibels in as short a time as possible. We've got to rise up to the high decibels in as short a time as possible, which means that we've got to have the switching of the 25,000 volts very, very fast. Now, there are other ways of making a bang. And as you are hearing this, and I'm hearing you and the audience, it's a loudspeaker. It's a cone moving. It's a magnet moving. That is slow. That doesn't work. It sounds like a bang to the ears, but in terms of physics, it's slow. What we have is the speed of electricity jumping a 1 millimeter gap. It takes a nanosecond, 1 billionth of a second. And that bang, it encompasses in its range all the frequencies that affect the body. Now, what I do understand is that a cancer on one organ might have a different frequency to a cancer on another organ. But they're all cancers. The behavior of the replication profusely of these mutating cells, it's the behavior of the cell that's important. That changes when the electrical properties change. And the frequency of the electrical properties are changed when it goes tack, tack, tack. And by good fortune, that's what we have in that machine. Because I said to Sanjeev, we want it with the shortest rise time possible. It's not just the way we switch the voltage, it's all the rest of the circuitry in the switching. And that's our secret. That's what makes that machine unique.
Beautiful. And you explained it so well. I want to thank you, Andrew. And I guess it's almost your bedtime, eh?
At my age, it is. No, even today, and we're speaking to you in July, this crazy government here in England has allowed the nightclubs to reopen. Do you think I'm interested? Sorry.
All right.
Thank you, Daryl. Love to everybody. And I join you at the next meeting.
We'll see you in about 22 hours, my friend.
I'll wake up.
Thank you. All right. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So there you have it. God bless this man. God bless his invention. And I'm serious. We are blessed to have it. You know what? This is huge. And I'll tell you something, everyone. This is not about ego. This is about coming together as the human race, as spirit beings, looking for the most powerful healing that we can get, because guess what? We deserve it. When we came here, they told us we could have it all. Why can't we? Well, we can. Okay? Rules are not meant to be bent. They're going to be broken. And we're going to break every rule that we've been given because we've been programmed. And we are going to do our own programming, which means we got to go in and break the rules, right? So it's going to be just a lot of fun with a lot of smiling faces and people that said, sorry, this is impossible for us. Well, we're going to take impossible and take I am possible. That's what we're going to do with it. Okay. And we're going to cure the so-called incurable. No, you are. No, your body is. No, your cells are. We don't do any of it. All we're going to do is just create the electricity to flip switch that you are a healthy, vibrant human being and have your cells go, what the heck? I guess we're behind here. Hey, guys, jump to it. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And understand, if you think that this is some kind of illusion, then you need to wake up. If you think this is a BS, a dysfunctional belief that we are trying to pass on to you, then come to us tomorrow and challenge us. Because that's it right there. You know what? You need to challenge anyone that's in authority. So we're telling you that we're an authoritative place, that we know what we're talking about. Come on and challenge us. But before you do that, why don't you challenge yourself? Challenge yourself to have a better day. Challenge yourself to love yourself and care for yourself more. Why don't you challenge yourself? Because guess what? As far as love and care goes for yourself and for the world, it's unlimited. Why don't we just do it? Why don't we just stop talking about love and become love? Okay? I want to thank everybody again for joining me. Tomorrow, guess who next week, I've got on Tuesday, July the 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I've got Doc Talk live Q&A. And then on Wednesday, okay, I've got the kickoff. That's right, the 6-day advanced water fasting challenge kickoff. This is where we all get and do a 6-day advanced water fast. If you haven't seen it, we've got our sale going on. Anything that's in the water fast is on sale for you. Jump on it if you want to get your products, and jump on our 6-day advanced fast, because guess what? The power is in not eating. That's right. The power is in not doing. It's being. Why don't you be a being, not a doing? Okay, because you bring up your vibration. And remember something, and this is the God's truth. I eat 1 meal a day. I have it around 5, 6 o'clock at night. I drink all day long, but I don't eat more than 1 meal a day. And guess what? Do you know how I can get away with it? Because I unconditionally love myself. I unconditionally love the world. Now, that doesn't mean that, people that have really bad beliefs, I let them in my home. That doesn't mean that I let them into my life. But the reality is, as soon as you start understanding that love is a self-serve job ingredient that you need to fill your heart up with each and every day, and with a slight smile, it won't matter what's going on in the world. Mind your own business, because they want your business, and the only way they can get it is to put you into a fear state. And when you're there, you're going to drip the adrenaline, the cortisol, and you're going to eat away your body, and you'll become an autoimmune disease. And autoimmune disease means, guess what? The body is attacking itself. But no, it's not. You started it. The body just continued it. So when you're done attacking yourself, maybe you might want to take massive personal action, love, and care for yourself. Okay? So check out our advanced water fast, everybody, and check out our sale if you want. Okay? And just know this, September the 11th, we're kicking off our New World Practitioner training. The first 9 days will be the Whole Life Coach certification. Okay? And then we'll have the next 11 days will be the Wolfe Non-Surgical certification. And then if you want, you can go home. That's 22 days. Or you can stay with me. And every morning we'll meet at the pool for 2 hours. And we'll talk about your passion, your purpose, your desire, how to market your business. And we'll talk about how we're going to build you a website. So we're going to build you a website at cost for those practitioners who want to get into the business. We're going to help you to market. We're going to actually, at cost, help you do professional videos. We're going to show you how to reach the world and become the gift that you've always wanted to be. Okay, I'll be doing another course September the 11th, another one October the 11th, and then we've got another one January the 11th, January the 14th, February the 14th, and March the 14th. We'll be doing 3 courses in a row. And also, I'm going to be kicking off my Healthy to 100 Live. It's a 3-day online course around the world. If you thought that the power was not inside of you, I'm going to change it. I'm going to show you in 3 days how you can not just take your power back, but how you will never give it away again. And guess what? When people tell you they're a specialist, you're the specialist. When people tell you they're the authority, they're not. You will become the only authority for you. Okay? And join our newsletter. Just go to docofdetox.com, and on the front of the page, put in your email, and guess what? You're not going to miss anything. We'll keep you up on everything. And for those of you who really want to dive in, go to docofdetox.com, click on library at the top of the page, and go into the most self-powering, self-care, self-love library you're ever going to find, where I'm going to give you truthful answers. Okay? I want to thank everybody for joining me, and just know this. All of my shows that I cannot play here will be played on Telegram at t.me/the Doc of Detox. Also on BitChute and Rumble, just under the Doc of Detox. And understand, there's a lot of stuff I can't put on here that you need to know, because this is your world, this is your life, and it's high time you took it back, Braveheart. 3, 2, 1. We got this. God bless. So what is a New World Practitioner? Well, a New World Practitioner is somebody that understands that training comes before treatment.
Have I noticed any changes in myself since taking this course? Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I definitely have.
There's so much more ahead of you, and there's so much more that you can find within yourself, and there's so much that you can let go of to free yourself. And I'm excited to be able to help others find their power.
It's not a treatment. It's like a restoration. You can renew your body. And I didn't understand what was preventing me from healing.
I guess this is where I kind of get emotional, because Daryl truly cares, not only for himself, but humanity in general. And he wants to educate people to live their best lives and learn to love themselves first before anybody else.
The Whole Life Coach certification. We go deeper in that 8 days than anybody else goes when it comes to learning how the invisible creates the physical, the psychological creates the biological. And we teach you about energy medicine and about vibration and frequency, because that's all it is.
He really cares for everybody. He wants to educate as many people as he can, their own healers / practitioners. He wants to get the knowledge out.
Dr. Wolfe and the whole crew, Sage and his bodywork techniques, learning it, everybody here has just been so incredible. They're so supportive. It's been a really cool experience.
I've seen nothing but incredible results day after day, hour by hour, while they work on people who get finally the effect and result that they've looked for everywhere else and never got. So they're amazing, amazing.
On a daily thing, I'm becoming more flexible and more pain-free. It's a process of treatments because of the damage I've done to my body. But yeah, I expect to be doing backflips. You know, I'm 64 years old. I'll be doing backflips.
When it comes to the Wolfe Non-Surgical certification, nobody can pull fibroids apart or reverse joint, muscle, tendon, ligament problems or scar tissue from surgery quicker than we can. And we offer a money-back guarantee to all our patients. Now, why would we do that? Because we pull off the I am possible and we reverse the irreversible.
They're so professional, yet so fun. They know how to push you to your limit. They encourage you, so it's all positive training, and really every one of them has a piece that they offer to the business, and they don't miss things. They let you go to the next level.
To use my love and light to be in service of others, and that's part of healing, right? Where as my elbow is connecting to that skin, you know, I'm delivering my frequency to the person that's seeking that work, you know, because I will always have that love and light inside me.
And a New World practitioner understands that you can't give what you're not. So until you understand that unconditional love and care for oneself is what you need to become so that you can give that to your patients, don't expect a different outcome than every other practitioner out there. And that's what we teach here, because you need to become what you want to see in all of your patients.